Welcome to Your Rights, Your Voice. Family Law Clarity with Ellie Sweeney.
Hello and welcome to Your Rights, Your Voice, Family Law Clarity with Ellie Sweeney. Ellie is a family law attorney serving Los Angeles and Ventura counties, known for her strategic approach and clear communication style. She helps clients feel confident as they navigate divorce, custody support, and other complex family matters. I'm Kevin Rosenquist, and today we're talking about how to prepare for your first meeting with a family lawyer. Ellie, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too, Kevin. Hello.
It's always good to be prepared. So this will be a good topic for someone who might need to talk to a family lawyer sometime soon. For someone reaching out for the first time, what should they expect from that initial consultation?
So the first consultation is really your chance to get an overview of your situation and understand the legal options that are available to you. I always try to explain what the process looks like and some basics, how long they should expect things to be, and so forth. But that's the time for you to ask the questions, and also, most important, to see if the attorney is the right fit for you. So I would ask about family situations, what the goals are, what is important to client, what are their main concerns. And sometimes we'll go into detail of timelines, costs, and so forth. But really, that first meeting is important to understand and get clarity of what the situation looks like and what it is that you can expect going forward.
What kind of things can someone prepare in advance that would maybe make that first meeting more productive, like documents or timelines or anything like that?
So if this is an existing case or sometimes post-judgment, which often I deal with as well, I do prefer that the client would bring me whatever documents have already been filed. If there's a petition filed, if there's custody agreement, anything like that, I would like to see. If it's a new case, they're just looking to file for divorce. For example, if you have a prenup, definitely bring a prenup with you. I mean, this is very important. I would not want to find out 2 months later that you had a prenup, because that would complicate things.
Slightly, yeah, that would complicate things slightly.
Exactly. But other than that, I don't necessarily expect my clients to be prepared at that time, because there's a lot they're not going to know is what's going to be required. So they don't need to be perfectly organized. Bring what you can. I will help you, and I will explain to them what I'm needing going forward and give them a list of documents they're going to need to start collecting, again, depending on what the situation is and which part of case we're dealing with.
What are some of the questions someone should be prepared to answer during that first appointment?
The important questions are definitely going to be just factual details. If it's a divorce, length of marriage, when you separated. I always like to explain what separation means, because sometimes people think it means that's when I moved out of the house, but that's not necessarily the case. I want to learn what children the parties have. Are there any other members? Is there a new girlfriend, boyfriend? And then some basic financial details, depending on what the case is about. If it's going to be about income, I like to get my clients a general idea of what they can expect in court. And but most important, I will ask about what the goals they're trying to achieve, what is going to be maybe the biggest fight in the case. I do always ask that. And we go from there. We set some priorities and start moving the case forward.
Is there ever a time that's too early to sit down with an attorney? Are there situations where someone needs to have more of their ducks in a row or more paperwork ready or anything like that? Or is any time when you know the divorce is imminent an okay time to talk to somebody?
I think that's your key phrase you had right there, when the divorce is imminent. Because when you started your question, is there time that is too early? it is too early if you think your marriage can still be saved. I always tell my clients, please try that first. Try
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
first. This is a long, difficult road, and if you think there's a chance to save, go and get some counseling and come see me another time. I'm happy to explain what the process looks like, but I always encourage them. So that would be perhaps the time that it's too early. But if it's imminent, if you know it's going to happen, or maybe the other party already filed and served you with a process, then no, that there is no time that's too early. The sooner you consult, the better. Maybe you decide not to hire an attorney right away. That's, of course, your choice. But I do believe that getting information is important. A lot of times people don't know certain rights they have. And if they find out later on, it could be too late to pursue those rights.
Good point. Do you find that clients sometimes are not 100% honest with you because whether it's embarrassment or whatever reason they might not tell you the full truth? Does that happen often? And can you talk about why honesty and full disclosure are important from the start?
Honesty is critical, because we attorneys, we can only give you the best advice if we have the full picture. So
Yeah.
if a client withholds information, it could come back later, it could hurt the case, but it can also create surprises that could delay and complicate process. I'm happy to say I think I have a really good rapport with my clients, and I tend to um, I don't believe that I am that they're dishonest when they talk to me. But it's important for them to understand that I have to believe in them. I have to trust them because that is how I'm going to do my best job. And
Mhm.
also, you don't want to have a potential situation when your client is testifying in trial and something comes up that you didn't know about. I would be in trouble explaining that. And how do I help that client if I didn't know about it ahead of time? So, whatever it is, even if you think it's embarrassing or if you think that it's something you're ashamed of, our, our, our communication is confidential. It's not going to go anywhere, but I need to know. And at the end of the day, we're all human, nobody's perfect.
Mhm.
And it's okay to share and be truthful.
Yeah, you're not there to judge. You're there
No,
to help. Yeah.
absolutely
Mhm.
not. And I
You
typically tell my clients that whatever they think is the worst, I'm sure I've seen worse.
That's a good point. That is a good point. You mentioned earlier about learning what the priorities are. We're learning what somebody's really wanting out of this. If someone's feeling really overwhelmed and they're not even sure exactly what it is that they want, how do you help them to identify what those priorities are?
I like to try to help them by breaking things into manageable pieces. So let's talk about first about what matters to you the most. If you want to tackle everything all at once, I mean, just like anything else in life, it would be very difficult. um, the process of divorce, for example, is not something that's going to be done and resolved in a week or even a month. um, so it's okay, take a little time. A lot of times these are working professionals or moms and dads who also have to handle their child's schedule, so they're busy. So I try to tell them, let's take one thing at a time. And if being with the kids, for example, is the number one thing, getting custody orders, let's focus on that first. If financial security is what's most important, let's focus on that first. And everything else will slowly fall into place. So I try to get them to I try to create with them sort of like a step-by-step process where we slowly achieve everything that needs to be achieved, and they just don't get lost in the details.
Are there certain things that people might not necessarily need to worry about for that first meeting, whether it's information, documentation, or anything that they do bring that you would say like, hey, you can back up a little bit. That's a little too early for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't need to have the full picture of their financial circumstances, because in any case, there's going to be things that they probably didn't even think of that I'm going to bring up. Um, you also don't have to have a full legal strategy or know the
Mhm.
answers. I feel a lot of times I have clients who come in and they were reading things online, and sure, there are great blogs out there, um, wonderful advice, absolutely. But it may not apply to their case, or they'll say, well, I talked to my friend who divorced and they got this and that much in support, but it may not be the same in their case. So it's not always helpful. So they don't need to be prepared. We're going to walk you through it, and we're going to work on timeline, and I will help them prepare going forward what they need.
You mentioned people going online, doing their own thing. It's always kind of the joke, like we all go to WebMD when we have any sort of ailment and freak ourselves out and all that. Do people sometimes do a little too much research in your experience where where they're either more stressed or just have a completely wrong idea of how this process will go?
I think, I don't know if it gives them more stress, but I think that it can give them very false expectations, and that is dangerous, because if your client comes to you and has expectations about something that actually is not applicable in their situation, then I don't want to feel like a bad guy. Now I have to take them down from those expectations and say, that may not be your case, and it would not make them happy. So expectations are really complicated, and just, I don't mind if they do their research and if they read about it. It's normal, it's human, it's available, it's
Yeah.
there, and
It's how we
that's
live today, right?
fine.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, don't rely on that 100% until you actually consult with an attorney who can give you more realistic picture of what the process would be.
We've talked before. You're not a therapist, so I'm not trying to paint you in a corner here, put you in a corner. But if someone's nervous, emotionally drained, not comfortable with the idea of sitting down with a family attorney, what can they do to feel a little more confident before stepping into your office?
I often tend to believe that I am not the one you should be nervous in front of. I'm not your judge. I'm not the
Yeah,
opposing counsel or your
yeah,
ex.
it's true.
But I try to tell them just to take a deep breath, relax, and just remind yourself that this is a safe space, and I'm here to help. Writing down some key questions and concerns ahead of time is important, just in case you feel you're nervous and you may forget them. Um, but sometimes people like to bring maybe a friend or a trusted family
Mm.
member, especially if they maybe have never dealt with finances in their lives and they feel it may be difficult for them to understand or follow, which I don't mind, but I do have to tell them at that point that their confidentiality is potentially jeopardized if they have a third party. But if it makes them feel comfortable, we will talk with the third party as well. But at the end of the day, I just always want to remind them it's my job to listen, my job to support and guide them going forward, not judge.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to Your Rights, Your Voice, Family Law Clarity with Ellie Sweeney. If you're thinking about divorce, custody, or any other family law matter, that first consultation can be the start of something better. To learn more or to schedule your own meeting with Ellie, visit elliesweeneylaw.com. And if this episode helped you, be sure to subscribe, share it with someone who you think might be ready to take that next step. Ellie, it's always great to see you. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Kevin.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.